Hey, Lori, welcome back. Fourth time you've been on
More,
this podcast, more than
more,
any other guest that I've had. So
more than
yeah,
a hat trick. I mean, that's pretty
yeah,
impressive.
it
Thank you
is.
for inviting me back for 4 times. I mean, that
I
means that I
mean,
might have
you always
some
have good stuff
valuable
to
things.
share. There's a reason why we keep going back to the well, as they say.
Ha,
Um, Good
perfect.
stuff. So let's catch up. Anything exciting going on recently for you in your world, in the world of Lori and what you do?
Always, always. There's things. Our family tends to do a whole bunch of things all at one time. I did have my hip replacement. I had it February 10th. So
That was a big thing.
that that was a big thing. Recovering well. I'm 3 months out and really feeling good, and learned a lot of things along the way. Had some good, helpful family runners to get me stuff and all the things.
Yeah, you got to have
But
those.
that was big. And then why not? Let's just all move from Colorado to Florida. That's coming
Right.
up next month.
Because, who doesn't get a hip replaced and decide to move across the country?
You're
I
like,
mean, that is
it
such,
speeds up recovery.
from what I do know about you, that tracks, actually. I could see you going, let's just move. So I've been
Right.
watching your progress videos. So you post a lot of these on Instagram, right?
Yes.
And I know you post on LinkedIn as well, but I see them mostly on Instagram for some reason. The algorithm's different than on LinkedIn for me. And you post like things that you're doing with your hip now that you weren't able to do at first. You had to kind of work up to it. So right, mobility is how are you with
It's it's
mobility?
big. I have bad genetics. So just a recap of why I had the hip replaced is I don't have great genetics. God love my parents, but my mom's had 3 hip replacements and my dad's
Oh,
had both replaced. And my mom and all her siblings have had a hip replaced. Like it's just not.
you saw that coming.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I didn't expect it because I'm like doing all the things, but
Yeah.
you know, it was there. But there's certain ranges of motion that I just couldn't get into anymore. And now it's all of a sudden like, whoa, look at where my foot went. There's all the differences that happen, but I like to equate it to a lot of different things, right? So all of a sudden my hip has all this new range of motion and really doesn't know what to do with it. It ties in really well to the talk I talk about all the time, why people are sometimes afraid of stretching before work because they're like, oh, don't people get hurt when they stretch and then work? I'm like, well, you just lengthened your muscles before you learned how to better use them and you went to work. And so I all of a sudden got all this range of motion, need to learn how to use it before I just go off and golf and run and do the things.
Yeah.
So mobility is what we call that. Is that you
That's why I
learn
said mobility. You taught me that. See, I'm
things.
learn. I listen when you talk. I know, may not look
This
like
is
it, but
why. By this fourth time, everybody will call it the mobility program, not a stretching
yes,
program.
this is why
Or
you're back for the fourth time. Repetition. So, but you mentioned golf, which is funny because that was one of the activities you regretted, like that you knew if you didn't take care of this, you really enjoy playing with your husband. So
right.
I remember you mentioned that. So you haven't tried golfing yet, or have you?
Sort of, not on
Okay.
a golf course. We
Okay.
we actually had a ASSP event with our Colorado chapter at
Yep.
Top Golf, and
Oh, there you go.
I think I was only like 3 or 4 weeks out, so I knew enough to not, do dumb things. But I
Right.
did have a golf club in my hand for a second, and I chipped a little
The
something, and I
rest you
was like,
just threw out
okay,
there.
well, yeah. I just coached everybody from
There you
there
go.
on out. But no, I haven't gotten to the golf course yet. I'm super close,
Okay. And what
but
about
I'm
the
kind of
cartwheel?
busy.
The cartwheel?
Oh, the cartwheel's getting closer.
Is it
Um,
really?
yeah,
Because we talked about that. We need
exactly.
to
I've
have
been
you on when
working
you
on
do your first
progression.
cartwheel. Okay.
Totally.
Oh
All
man.
the
All right.
things.
That'll be exciting. I can see you putting that on Instagram too.
Totally. That's going to go viral.
That's gonna go. That's gonna go on there.
Old
All
lady
right.
does
So
cartwheel
there
after
was
hip replacement. Sorry.
right first cartwheel. It's a milestone. So okay, so there was that. There was the big move. You're moving. I also saw something, not to sidetrack us, because I know we have an agenda, and this is, I don't know, it might be more fun to just
Squirrel.
record us,
Squirrel.
shooting the breeze. But I saw you post something, and I shared it with my wife because she had her breast cancer surgeries, right? She has this huge scar on her abdomen from the deep repair, and the physical therapist was like, massage is going to help with that, and with some of the pain and some other issues that she's having. We suspected were stemming from her scar. You posted that, and I shared it with her, and I'm like, Lori says this is a thing, so you got to do it.
So that gives it the whole credibility right there.
It
Not your physical
does.
therapist, but Lori says.
The Lori says. But you talk about like medicine and over medicating in this country in general. And again, I don't want to get sidetracked, but it kind of fits with intervention. Like by the time you get to the point where you're getting prescribed meds, we've missed probably there are exceptions, but in general, we've missed some opportunities, right?
Right, a ton of opportunities. And I think information and education is the biggest reason why people aren't told to massage their scars. The physicians just, we run it, like you said, your wife learned about it from her physical therapist, not the physician, right?
Yeah.
The doctors are, oh, well, I think I was talking to a colleague, they had a small arm surgery thing. And he's like, yeah, my world renowned doctor, who's great at what he does, but he mentioned something about how, oh, well, you can massage it or not. We've done this study and it really didn't matter. And it's like, I'd like to take a look at that study because definitely, no matter where the scar is, it can create a whole chain reaction of imbalances and problems if you don't work on it. And no one's ever told that.
Yeah, that's good. All right. So talking about early intervention, you mentioned, we were talking before we hit record, as we often do, just catch up. There's this gap, right, between like when you first think something might be wrong as a worker, right? Soreness or something's telling you, and then of course, then when I have an injury, and by definition, we're talking about I get to the point where I have to stop. I'm no longer able to do what I need to do at work. It's impairing my ability to continue, and I have to seek treatment of some kind. Maybe it's first aid. Maybe it does end up being a send out. But there's this huge gap that you like to address, right?
Well, yes, because I think there are some companies that have good early reporting in place. There's two things that restrict its success, and one is ego, because a lot of trade workers, especially, are just like, go, go, go. This, I'm just sacrificing my body. I'm meant to in this job. Like, that's what it's all about. So they don't, they think they're weak, or, why should I speak up about something now? It's not that bad. So that's a huge chunk right there. So educating on, hey, the smaller it is to start out with, the much easier it is to fix, is a lot. And then actually having something small to do about it is the other part that makes that successful. Because if you're just wanting them to report to you and talk about it, but not do anything at that point, they're like, okay, well, keep me posted.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything either. Like,
Thanks
oh,
for
well,
the heads up.
thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. We're just trying to save the dollar just in case.
Right. You're touching on something I hadn't thought about until you just said that. And that is, and I experienced this as well at other companies in my past. And that is, they want you to report early so that they're aware of it, so that when it does get worse, they have a record of like, yes, it is work related because you did tell me, but they don't actually do anything in that time. It's
Right.
just, okay, thanks for the heads up, keep an eye on it. And other than that, there's no intervention, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Some
so you
some
said do
companies are
some,
getting better at that, but
okay.
there's
You said do
definitely.
some small things. Give me an example of like some small things somebody could do with that information that they may not be doing now.
I think the biggest is just learn about your body more. learned that so many workers that I talk to are just wanting to know that they're going to be okay, right? If it's a little bigger than, it's a little more sore and it's not going away, they're like, I just want to know that it's going to be okay. Like shoulders are pretty complex. Shoulders, especially with physical work, um, are tweaked easy, right? They get grumpy easy. They
Yeah.
just have a lot going on. And if someone's like continually dealing with shoulder aches, it's like, well, what's wrong? Could it be serious? And I think the biggest thing is just education of, well, look how much soft tissue is around the shoulder. There's really not much cartilage damage or things like that that can tear and have problems. Just a lot of times I'm like, wow, it's that crappy posture you got going on. And maybe we can just, fix
Me.
things. But really, right, a couple checks of, well, if you move better, does it feel better? And they say yes, then we're like, cool, that's soft tissue most likely. And let's see what we can do about it. So, above all, it's just that reassurance of nothing's really seriously wrong.
Yeah.
We just need to educate on body positioning, or so the little things like just moving the parts that are still okay moving, circulation, posture, uh, heat. We always have that heat ice debate on
Right.
here, and it's still around. It's going to take a long time to turn that ship.
Yeah.
Uh, but,
In the medical
you know,
community, you mean, right? For
yes,
yeah.
completely. Yeah, I just had an employee that we kind of got in this little mix, and they had talked to the nurse line first, right? And the nurse line was like, "Oh, ace bandage and ice." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
how about So that, and then that's confusing, right? That's confusing to the worker because then, well, someone's telling me to ice and someone telling me to heat. So I try to do the dance a little
Yeah.
bit of try it. You can't get hurt with heat or ice unless you leave them on too long and you have skin problems, but it's not detrimental either or. So why not try it?
Hmm. Interesting. So where do you
Right.
see now? You said you what do you wish? Maybe that's what I'll ask Lori. If you had a wish, what do you wish the medical community would do more or less of in this context of early intervention, like not waiting for this and then prescribing what they prescribe because it's at that point, what are you going to do?
Right. Well, I think what I wish is for all levels of, the healthcare industry to catch things early and be more preventative and not just pop the pills and wait and see if you get better.
Mhm.
That's so passive
Yeah.
of the system, right? It's the sick care system. It's not the health care system, whether it's
Isn't it
worker
though?
comp or
I love
your
that. Right.
regular. It is because it's just kind of like, oh, wait till you get sick. It was like the early days of COVID or whatever, and someone was like, well, tell me your symptoms. Okay, well, if you get worse, then go in.
Right.
And so that's how we've been. Our healthcare system has been that way. Like, well,
Yeah.
how about we talk about prevention more? So my wish is that the medical community can have better conversations about all of the options of prevention, of nutrition and meditation, mental wellness, physical, all the things, right? That they think is probably fluffy.
Yeah. But it
But
leads to the physical stuff that they're treating, sort of like treating the symptom, not the root or
right. And
preventing.
again, it's another big ship to turn.
Yeah.
Uh, Pharmaceutical companies like their stuff out there.
Yeah.
And, but if we get too dependent on thinking that the pill is the answer and not actually the effort of like the personal responsibility of maybe getting healthier.
Yeah.
I know it's unpopular sometimes, right? To
I
say
I
those
don't know.
things.
Nobody, what's funny is that term self care. The first word says, I mean, nobody's going to do it for you.
Right.
I mean, So maybe you need help being motivated. Maybe you need some tools to manage your time, or maybe you need some help with some activities or whatever. But like, there's so many things that go into self-care. It's not about how you look so much as it's about just taking care of you, like preventing some of these things down the road. And I always go back to that story of a coworker, and I'm going to remind them that they did this, of picking up this box. And I'm like, well, there's a cart. I mean, he's like, I'll worry about that when I'm 50. And I looked at him. I was 49 at the time. This is recent because I'm 51 now. I said, I'm you at 50. And he just looked at me and I said, yeah, I'm going to be 50. In like this year, I'm going to be 50. And I'm like, it's quicker than you think. Don't kick that can down the road. What are you going to try to fix your back when you're 50?
Right. But it is the case. They're like, I'll deal with it when I get there and no big deal. But here's the thing. I think people would be more proactive if everyone could have a personal trainer and a massage therapist, right? For free.
So
yeah, if I'm meeting that
you mentioned
where it
something.
is.
You mentioned, I don't want to sidetrack you, but you mentioned workers' comp might be a good like lever or influence on the medical community, because you're right. Somebody like you or me talking to the medical community, whoever that is, right? It's the whole industry. We're going to have very little traction, right? But if workers' comp, dollars and cents, how do you see workers' comp in the workplace context being able to influence the medical community?
That's a brilliant question, because I was on the path. Let's finish this path then. So you can say that if everyone had a personal trainer and a massage therapist for free and had the time to do it, right? We would not have as many injuries. But now think in the workplace. So the employer is responsible for creating the safe environment and helping them feel better. And early intervention is actually massage therapy and some wellness exercises. Yep. So you're kind of getting a free trainer and massage therapist.
Yeah.
And so here we can get a whole bunch of data that says when people are, and it develops a habit, right? So It's hard to do it on your own. So here's someone that my employer's paying for that's going to help me get on track and give me a little kickstart, and I'm feeling better. So now I'm hooked. It's that getting going and feeling better part that's the effort. That's where the effort is. So then in this whole occupational world, we can help kickstart that along and be like, I think we have it. We're going to save the world.
Yes, there you go. You're going to save them. So we talk about this with workplace safety all the time. Safety geeks always talk about how the reason why we continue to educate and do safety talks and impart this knowledge is, people end up taking this home with them. You don't forget this knowledge when you leave the workplace. So, I mean, it stands to reason that if you did this with self-care, wellness, all that good stuff, total worker health. You could talk about total worker health in this context, but so too, they take that knowledge and information home with them. I worked at a medical device manufacturing company, a fantastic company, and they had a gym on site, and they had people come on site. They had yoga, they had aerobics, they had some weights, they had different during the work day. There was night shift and a day shift. So we could sign up and we could go during that hour and exercise and learn the techniques and actually do a little exercise. And they had an on-site locker room and shower. It was like a gym. It was like right there in the middle of the manufacturing facility. It was state of the art. It was brand new. Everything was nice. But you're right. I think the feedback we heard from people was, by the time I work a 12-hour shift, 10-hour shift, if I'm working overtime, these are like machinists, right? Blue collar workers are making the devices that we're going to use, implants actually. They're like, I got a 45-minute drive home, and by the time I get home, I got to mow the lawn. So they're on their feet all day, and now they're pushing a lawnmower around, and they got to eat and get the kids to bed. Like, when am I going to do this? And so it taught them like how you can make time, right, to do
Right.
these. So good stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah,
what about
making the
workers' comp?
time.
How can they support this
I think
or
I would
influence?
love, well, I would, workers' comp. I've already heard, from a lot of clients and peers and people in the safety industry, it's not a secret that um, companies search out certain OC health clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's certain ones that are knee jerk, pill pop, scan, whatever, that they just, in my opinion, take the easy way out. There are better urgent care clinics and OC health people that are learning more and continuing to, communicate, make this big circle of communication with the company, their safety person, and the employee, right? And having that better. So there's already starting to have tiers of, clinics that think different or are open to the conversation. A lot of safety pros have to have the conversation with the urgent care clinics. Be like, look, okay, OSHA first aid versus OSHA medical treatment, and try to have it all still look like we care about the employee, because they do
Right.
care about the employee, but also the dollars. So there's that two-way. But if the person on the worker comp end also gets this knowledge and says, oh, I didn't know you had someone that's so knowledgeable about, all these first aid things, and wow, look at how successful that can be. I think that communication just needs to open up. You need to say, we didn't give you business because we were doing so well over here. I don't know how that
Yeah.
goes over with them.
Do you see, for the ones that you say are learning and are getting it, because you travel geographically, you're outside of your home market, do you see areas of the country more leaning into this, or is it just hit or miss?
To me, it seems hit or miss right
Okay.
now.
All right.
It's just kind of the area. Honestly, it's the safety pros knowledge that
Yeah.
runs a lot of it as well. So if they aren't aware of all the tools, then they're not going to ask the questions. So again, a lot of it's pushing from that side to educate, and then hopefully with a little change in worker comp, that individual or their families, then if something happens with their normal general physician, they can ask more questions about
Mhm.
these sorts of things.
I think state laws have a lot of influence over this too, because which that's another conversation. But some states, like Tennessee, for example, the employer has to list at least three providers the employees can go to. Pennsylvania is a panel state, right? So Ohio, an employee can go to any provider. You're not allowed to tell them you have to go. You can suggest,
Okay.
you could say we use this provider, but you can't tell them they have to go there by law. It's weird, and it all stemmed from Congress pushing this all back on the states way back in the Industrial Revolution, when workers were just getting arms and machines and stuff like that.
Right.
It's called these are exclusive remedy laws, which were set up by state.
Right.
So some states it's going to be easier, right, to have this relationship and to tell your workers this is our preferred provider. So I imagine it's like you said, it's a big ship to turn, because there's that too. Like in some states, you
Exactly.
can't tell them to go somewhere. So
Well, and so can you can suggest or recommend, or you can't say anything.
yeah, well, depends on the state. Like I
Okay.
said, Ohio, we can say we recommend going to this one. This is the one we like. We've used before. We're set up.
Okay.
But you and the employee can go to any board certified bureau, for workers' comp provider they want. Tennessee, you have to give them which is this is more fits with what we're talking about. If Tennessee, and somebody can roast me if I'm way off base on this one, I believe it's Tennessee. You have to provide three options, like you have to list three, but you can list them, I think, is what it is. So you
Okay.
could pick the ones
Right.
that work with you, if they're available, to
Well,
take this
so
approach we're talking about.
so this is where, so if I had my way of saving the world still, and what I'm currently neck deep in is collecting across the country providers who think different,
Yeah.
and all the ones that aren't just gonna cookie cutter a wrist or a knee or whatever it is, or whatever they hear the complaint. I want to speak to the medical, health, wellness, athletic trainers, all the folks that are looking at the whole body sort of thing, and developing a community and a network that then I can put out there for all these employers to be like, hey, Tennessee, why don't you pick 3 of these?
Yeah.
Or, that's what I'm
That would be
hoping
cool.
on. It's in the works, trying to map them all so that you can just go to one spot and be like, hey, do you have one in my area? I have a random lone worker in Nevada, right? I don't have any, place there, but they're working there. Do you have any place that I can send them? And I'll say, oh, look at that. Yes, I do.
The Movement Ninja Network.
Sort of. Yes. Oh, but wait, there's a name.
Uh-oh. What? Is there?
What? What? No, well, not for, well, kind of for the network, but I have to go back, and the actual service falls into that gap between employee complaint and urgent care. It needs to
Okay.
be that stop in between. So I'm calling it the fit stop. It's the pit stop for your body performance.
I like it.
And
I like it
so
a
my
lot.
network is the Fit Stop Professional Network.
That's great. So getting back to the beginning, full circle, that gap,
Ta-da.
that's where you need to intervene. That's where when somebody says, just FYI, in case my arm falls off, I'm letting you know, happened here because I'm feeling it. And they're like, okay, from that point forward, that's the focus. We marshal all these resources to that case, right?
Exactly. And if in-house they don't know about all the things of, hey, let's tape it, don't forget your wellness exercises and your warm-up routine, all those things. If they don't quite have that, then they can at least go, hey, I wonder if someone's in my area that can help me out with that. Or virtual. Hi, yay for everybody feeling virtual, that you can just do a appointment virtually, because most of it
Visit.
is that education.
Yeah. Yeah, show me what you're doing. What do you do when it hurts? Right, like you said, does it hurt when you do this and move that? And that's good stuff. You mentioned shoulders. Do you know? This is just off the cuff. I think anybody watching, if you're on the community site, you can see this video, obviously. But if you're listening, you've probably figured out I'm not big on scripts, so I don't script a lot. So totally throwing one out here for you, Lori. Shoulder. You mentioned shoulders. Do you know of any like stats on like what's the most? I would imagine a Libram tear or rotator cuff, right? Like those are the big repair surgeries that folks tend to need. Do you
Right.
think they're over, like we could intervene earlier, or the surgeries, most of them aren't necessary, or I don't know.
Right. For all those watching audibly, I don't know if I have an audible eye roll or not, but
Yeah, we can. I think they got it now.
I have an audible eye roll. Yeah, shoulders are. I ran into someone once. The one I still can't fathom really are shoulder replacements. I'm like, what? Why would you even need? I guess if there's a big accident or something like that. So I understand the minimal need for things like that, but rotator cuff problems are what people talk about a lot and it's really a muscle imbalance problem. So again, that education component, right? They're like, oh, my rotator cuff, and I have a little small tear in it or things like that, which of course I don't have x-ray vision. Darn it. I'm still working on that.
Add that to the
Sort of
list.
add that to the list. labral tear is somewhat, I would say, common. I can probably tell you that I don't have all the exact stats, but
Right.
shoulders in the workplace, especially high hazard, are super common. Shoulder, knees,
Yeah.
and back, right? That I can
Yeah.
insert eye roll here on why are we cutting on it when we really could just be working on posture and stability and correct movement.
Right.
They might just feel better with that. Is that what
Yeah.
you were asking me?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Interesting. I worked. This was many years ago. I worked with a gentleman who ended up with a knee replacement, and he was an older gentleman at the time, and he was a heavy equipment operator. And he made the comment to me. He had retired, and he went on. He was on permanent disability, and he work related. And he made the comment to me. He came in to visit. Nicest guy, real nice. I helped him with his claim and everything. And he came in, and I'm like, "Hey, how's the knee?" He's like, I'm getting used to it." He had his little cane, and he said, "I think I have an infection.
Oh,
They think I have an infection in the knee area." I'm like, "It doesn't
mm,
sound good." He
no,
goes,
that's
"No, I have
right.
to go back and get it looked at." But then he said he looked at we were on break. We were doing a new hire orientation. We were taking a break, so he was in the office. I was talking to him, and he looked at the new kid. And he goes, "Whatever you do, don't jump out of the equipment." And I went, "Hey, would you mind recording a like?" Don't do this type of like mention.
Yeah,
We got him recorded him saying like to the new hires like you don't think it's a big deal when you're younger or all those years of not using the ladder, just
right,
jumping out of the track hoe and like
right.
front end loader and like not a big deal, but tore his knee up. Unfortunately, the infection they determined that he needed a different model of knee.
Okay.
Put a second
Yeah.
one in. That one is the one that got infected,
Oh, geez.
and they ended up taking his leg from the knee down.
Shoot. Yeah, talk about
All
getting out of
because if you
hand.
go back to what he said to the beginning, uh,
Right.
and I'm not blaming him. I'm saying this
No.
because he said it. He acknowledged it, so I'm allowed that opened the door.
That
Um,
opened the door. But no, but on that point, I think that's a good conversation to have. And from my strength coach brain, I go, well, you don't want to jump out of it because are you going to the gym before or after
are you
work and working
conditioned
on
for
box
that?
jumps? Right. Are you conditioned for that? Are you,
Yeah.
hello, you can't have speed and power without strength first. So it's, it kind of bridges that gap of, okay, I don't want to look like a weenie because I'm not jumping out of the cab, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, then get stronger.
Yeah. Can you
I'm
imagine that?
sorry, I'm not encouraging the
Look
jumping
at
out of
that
cab, but
loser using 3 points of contact.
jeez, right?
Sucker. Yeah. But even professional athletes retire. They
Oh
have
yeah.
they have a career length that's not very long, like in the NFL. But I don't know that it's directly related to running, for example, like a running back. It's probably just getting pummeled, right? Getting hit
Right.
is getting injured, right? So it's people run. There are people that are they're conditioned and are running into their 80s and 90s, right?
Right.
So and doing it safely. So
Right. So yeah,
because of
run
that
it
conditioning.
to pinpoint what exactly is it, but trade workers do go through a lot of wear and tear, repetitive motion and climbing and all the things and confined space here and
Hammering
there.
on stuff and banging on things and weird
And
positions.
I know I love, I don't mind the term industrial athlete, and I know that kind of works for a little bit, but I always like to just caveat that with they're industrial athletes, but they don't have an off season.
Right.
They are the whole time. So I kind of think of it as a little different breed. Um, Blue collar ninjas works pretty
Yeah.
well, but no.
So it's
Um,
always game time for them.
yeah. So to have them in that mentality that, they don't have a downtime. So it's really important to put in those micro breaks or some sort of recovery
Mhm.
period that if I could beat it into their heads, like prepare your body, do it better if you can, and then recover afterwards. Those
Yeah.
three things, if you could just stick that in, doesn't have to be anything huge. You're going to move better and feel better and be more productive. Then the company's happy, blah, 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 right? It all chain reacts. And
You're so right. I mean, so you get a lot of feedback, I know, because we've talked before, but your customers, your clients, these blue collar ninjas, these blue collar workers, God bless them for the work they do every day, keeping this country moving, by the way. You get feedback from them on like when you do coaching sessions or training or whatever you're doing with them. What kind of feedback? What are you hearing from these grizzled, rough and tumble workers that that you would think don't want to appear weak? You work with them all the time. So,
right. And I love the old and stubborn. They're my favorites because when you can finally be like, okay, just try this one time, like just nice enough, like, okay, I get it. You have to relate, in my opinion. Everyone's like, how do you, I do. They're like, how do you get these people to do this? And I'm like, because I respect the work they do. Huge appreciation, right? Like you were saying, I respect the work they do. I ask a ton of questions about it because I'm just curious how it all happens. Like, oh, tell me about that and how you have to do. And doesn't that bug your body? Like, doesn't, talk about those things. I'm like, do you know I have a thing that might help you? Oh, show it to me. Yeah, cool. And then I show it and they're like, oh, wow, it's that easy. Like that's the biggest, the most common
yeah,
feedback that I get. I didn't know it was so easy.
yeah, to just change my posture or the tool or something.
Right. Or the little thing like
Yeah.
someone,
Little tweak.
yeah, the last client that I was with, we were talking about low back tweaks and things like that. I'm like, well, one of my favorite wellness exercises is bird dog. When you're on your hands and knees and you put one arm forward and one
Oh,
leg
great.
back behind you, right? So
Like a
it's
pointer.
called, yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
bird dog. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Um, that's a really great core workout, but it also does a whole bunch of things at once. And so I took this worker through that just a couple of times, showed him how. And I heard the next day in the training class, they're like, yeah, he was already saying he feels better from that. Um,
He was
it's
bird
like
dogging it.
he's bird dogging it. That's all he needed was a little bird dog. And he didn't, you know, that's,
Well, I
and
like
again, my frustration with it's so easy. How do we put the word out?
yeah. No, you're right, but that's a great example, and now you're making me think of a simple exercise somebody had me try. After so I've had, I'll let the cat out of the bag on this one. 5 hernia repairs. I like to tear stuff.
So you don't like sneezing?
No, it was all from physical activity, like actual injury, like tearing of my abdominal wall. But yeah, from overexertion and from doing stuff that I should have been better conditioned to do. But anyway, you reminded me. You said bird dog. If I flipped over and did that, I would be doing my dead bugs. So I
Dead
do
bugs,
I do
yes.
dead bugs because I thought that was hilarious, and you have no idea. I don't care who you are. You do those for a while, you're feeling it. Like it's effective.
I love to do um, training classes if we're talking about low back and
Mm-hmm.
all these conversations. I can throw it in anywhere really, but how easy is it I get everybody down on the floor? I'm like, oh, we're gonna lay down. Like, let's everybody lay down. They're like, sweet, I'm gonna lay down. And then we get them into like dead bug pose, and all of a sudden you hear just like grunts
Oh,
and
yeah.
groans and oh, what am I doing? And oh
It's
yeah,
harder
that's
than
more
people
work.
think.
Yeah. I was
But
like,
that's a good barometer to like that. Really, as much as I try to take care of myself and stay in shape, right? And I'm by my 5th repair because I have a very thin abdominal wall. I guess the doctor said there's just not
just
much
makes
there.
you more prone to them.
I'm not a big guy, right? Yeah, and so then I try to do stupid stuff and I tear it. But it was a good barometer for me. I thought how strong I thought I was, and I did some of those, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Right.
I had some
No,
work to
but
do.
well, and here's what you might find interesting is that if you kind of think of that whole abdominal wall as a tarp, a fibrous tarp, and if you have a hernia here, like if you poke a hole in it or two, is the whole thing, obviously is going to lose some of its integrity. So it does make you a little prone
Yeah,
towards more,
just prone to
as
five of them.
as well as you can fix it, right? Oh, and
Right.
then we go back to that whole scar massage talk, and
Yeah.
abdominal scars happen from those too.
Yeah. That's a good, I think, another topic. We'll go for the fifth episode with
The
you.
fifth episode. I know, right? We're already,
We're
geez.
gonna get to the point where when I go on vacation or I can't record, I'm just gonna have you do it. So
Hey, I would love to be the whole, what did they
guest
say?
host.
When the cat's away, the mice will play. I'll be the mouse. I'll play.
There you go. I will take you up on. I'm not even kidding.
Ooh,
You could
that'll be
record
fun.
one and then I'll just edit it and throw it out there. But yeah, that can happen. Um, so
Somebody
we
throw
can,
some topics out there. Do that.
yeah. So like massage, you were talking about this, and I think we talked before I hit record. We should probably just hit record right away because we talk about so much stuff
I know.
of the massage therapy with my wife, or I think I did mention it after her
Yep,
surgery.
you did.
That would be a great topic in general, like what types of issues people have had because of
Yeah. Definitely. That would be a good one because there's a lot of dots to connect that, again, doctors aren't telling you about it. So maybe three things to watch for. And don't think that it has to be a brand new scar. All the
right.
old scars actually get benefit from it as well. So that's a topic that can be helpful to anybody with any scars.
All my old scars. Good. If you could help me with my old baggage,
Ooh,
that's a whole different conversation right there.
no, no,
You can't help me with that, can you?
no. I do, yeah, physical stability and balance, but not mental. Sorry.
Mental. But another relation there, right? Being well. We talked about
Yeah.
self-care, but um yeah, there's just this, so everything's so connected that we don't even realize sometimes that how I'm feeling physically and how well I am and is a connection to how I might be feeling
Right.
psychologically. Yeah.
Definitely stress and mental wellness definitely affect
Stress,
your
anxiety.
body
Yeah.
and all the things, right? So
Yeah.
no, all see all these topics
Yeah.
that could come up.
I
That
wrote some down. So um excellent. I'm writing that one down too. So let's wrap this up. We talked about this gap between soreness, or when I first report to my supervisor, and when there's an injury, what companies can do and partner with providers like Balance by name. So we just assume people know who you are.
oh right, yeah, true. I wear a lot of
So
hats.
name of the company and the service you provide and the work that you do. Let's do that to wrap this up.
Okay. So the umbrella company is Balance Biomechanics. The
Yeah.
Movement Ninja was born from Balance Biomechanics because our movement and lifting training sessions are very ninja like and it hangs on really well. So the Movement Ninja was born out of that, but Balance Biomechanics also does upgrades for your stretch and flex programs and the mobility knowledge that we were talking about. So train the trainers and any service for that. And then the early intervention service has been kind of small and not a huge part of Balance Biomechanics, but now with this whole new brainstorm that after searching for a client for really great providers wherever they had people at, I'm like, I need to just do this nationally.
Right.
So then the Fit Stop is now a part of Balance Biomechanics to where people can, smaller companies especially, right, that they can at least have a virtual check-in with someone that they trust. And hopefully people are getting to know me a little better. Thanks for having me on. To
Yeah.
know that I love these people so much and I really want to help, that
Yeah.
they trust that. And they go, Lori knows. Maybe we'll ask her first, or let's set that up. And then maybe she knows somebody in my area.
So what if anybody watching or listening out there, safety pro out there, and says, you know what? I have somebody that might need something like this. I should ask Lori what she thinks. How can they ask you?
They can ask me, email me, Lori@balancebio.com. You can go, the quickest is going to be to text me. So that's
There
an
you
easy
go.
text line is 720-704-4851. That goes right to my phone. And we're actually going to connect that. It's a text community, but it's a one-on-one conversation. But it's really great for case management of employees that we can go back and forth. So
Nice.
Text me, go to balancebio.com, email me.
Yeah.
Don't call me on my personal
phone. There's multiple ways to get a hold of you, right?
There are multiple ways. And really, I would also ask, whoever's listening to this, if they already know of a provider that maybe they use personally with their family, if they know a really great massage therapist, athletic trainer, physical therapist, or any sort of medical or fitness provider that thinks different, I want to connect all those, because not just occupational, I want to connect it in the communities as well. I think it's a win-win all around. So if anyone knows of someone like that, send them my way.
Send them to you. Gotcha. I'll keep my ear to the ground too. So,
and yeah, if all the things, I love that, because really it's about saving the world from injury and pain. And if we all do it together, then it's going to go faster.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. And I think we laid a foundation for our next episode together, which is exciting. Always love having you. You're such a good friend to the podcast. And I know there's a few other guests that I had on that are going to be jealous. I think I'm going to start a little competition to see how many can keep up with Lori on
Just wait for the takeover. Just wait for the takeover. Right.
Oh, there you go. That's going to be fun. I actually have one coming. I have something coming up. We'll talk offline, because I think I might hold you to that. That would be really fun.
That would be fun.
All right. Well, Lori, it's been a pleasure as always, and have fun. Don't hurt yourself too much moving. I know you gotta trek all the way down to the southeast, so that's gonna be gonna be a trip.
It's going to be. Well, thanks, Blaine, for having me on. It's wonderful. I think everyone's going to have to now. I have to get away from my snow shoveling ergonomic tips, and I'm going to have to get into like some sand moving, or I don't know, tree trimming. I don't
raking, that Zen thing with the sand. Raking,
something like that. But in the middle, look for a lot of boxing up tips and lifting and moving.
There you go. Yes, I encourage you all, if you're not following her on LinkedIn, follow her on LinkedIn, but also Instagram. Actually,
thank you. The Movement Ninja Lori is
the Movement Ninja Lori.
Yes.
Okay, on Instagram.
Correct.
All right. Yep. That's where I see all the videos. When I open Instagram, I bet you, I'm not going to show it, but I bet you if I open Instagram.
Am I up there? I did post one
You will
today.
probably be on the top. First one on the top.
Right there.
Every time.
Every time.
People will think, well, it's because I only follow Lori and I don't follow anyone else. No, I follow all kinds of stuff. I like the algorithm on Instagram a little bit better. Not that I like Instagram, but you're always popping up right there. And
they're a little more casual on Instagram than they are on LinkedIn. I don't have too much discretion I don't mind throwing casual stuff on LinkedIn, but there's a little more of my crazy daily life that's on Instagram.
You can have a little more fun on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think a little more personable. I like that. All right.
Perfect.
Until next time. And don't go away when I hit stop on the record, because I want to ask you about this takeover episode. So be on the lookout for that, everybody. Thanks.
See ya.